All right. So the next thing that we are going to be focusing on are your shadows and highlights to kind of help bring out some value and like just life to your portrait. Um, Let me go ahead and preface this by saying that like I'm not expecting y'all's to be as amazing as mine. Um, that's okay. Like some of you are brand new. I've done this assignment a few times, but I'm gonna go ahead and kind of like create this general outline of the shadow that's mainly there on my face. I've already done it because I've tried to record it several times, but I kept messing up. And as you can see, I've been experimenting with a lot of colors. I've got custom colors down here. So I'm going to go ahead and make it like this darker kind of like skin tone that I've already made. So I've got that big shadow kind of laid out there that takes up like the majority of my face. So I'm starting to get different tones. And what I'm going to do now is kind of come in and I'm going to get some of these darker shadows. What you want to do is look at your picture. You know, you're going to have a lot of different shadows, like the shapes. They're all going to be different. And so what you want to do as well is make your shadow colors kind of transparent so that they, you know, can layer really well. Everything's going to be done on layers. Like you see, I've got like these transparent colors on top. I've got that dark color on top of like a mid color on top of like a lighter shadow color. So just zooming through here, you'll see that I'm messing around a lot with those like nodes, those little anchor points, just so I can really reshape what I've drawn. But if you see I'm going back in, and I'm not just leaving it done at one point, I am creating, a darker value. I'm zooming in and out a lot. You don't want to work on this thing from really far out. You want to be up close so you can make sure that your shapes for your shadows and highlights all match up as evenly as possible. And remember, you're also going to need to play around with the order of objects. You can fix that by going to Arrange and then Order and hitting Send to Back or Send Backwards. Or another easy thing that you can do if you need to put like a color behind another is to just press Command and then hit the down arrow key. That's if you're on a Mac. If you're on a PC or like a Chromebook, you can hit Control and the down arrow, and that'll just send it behind a shape at a time. So yeah, I'm gonna keep messing around with this. Lots of experimentation going on. I'm reshaping all the different values and tones, zooming out, making sure it looks good. If I don't like it, I'm gonna go back and fix it. It's a lot of trial and error. Okay, so I spent maybe about an hour. So keep in mind, I am not wanting y'all to work as hard and like have it as good as mine. I don't expect that. I just want you to give me something really, really great. As you are spending the week on this, you'll be turning it in Friday. I really just want you to experiment with things. You see I've got like all these different shapes and shades for my shadows and my highlights. I don't have any black lines drawn out. Everything was created with the polyline tool, much like what you've seen so far. And it's just about arranging them on there and making sure that they kind of look well and that they work together when I zoom out. So you can see I've got this darker color layer on top of that lighter color, but the transparency kind of doesn't make it as dark. But over here, I have that darker color, which is right here, underneath this lighter color here, which helps really bring down that darker color and makes it more believable. All right, so I'm going to zoom out here. But yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do here is kind of go back, show you where I have the highlights. I've got the shadow for the glasses here. I'm not asking for it to be perfect, just kind of get it close as like a nice representation. Here's my highlights. I'm just literally tracing on my photograph where they are on my image. So if you go down here, you see I've got like 1, 2, like 3, 4 different colored values. and those are all layered on top of each other. They do have that transparency to them. I've kind of like sent the darkest color behind all those lighter skin colors, so when you zoom out, it looks like a pretty good portrait. Not quite my skin tone, but it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So yeah, now I'm just going to zoom in, kind of work on the beard and the hair. You don't have to get every hair strand that you see. You're making it more just kind of like a graphic style in a way. So we're going to zoom in. We're going to speed this up. I am kind of making these like diagonal-like shapes to create the hair. It's just like almost more like a geometric design. Again, I'm double clicking and I am moving those little nodes, or what I like to call like little anchor points, around, and I'm just reshaping what I've done to make it more believable and to give it more of like that realistic form. I'm going to do that a lot here, especially with the beard, just to make sure that it's kind of like my highlights do match up with the darkness of the beard. And I'm going to come around and like even create my own different idea, because you don't want it to be exactly like that. Don't be afraid to give like a nice artistic touch. So I've made like a darker brown. What I'm actually going to do is take the transparency down as well, so that it can layer on top of that brown color that I have there and make it seem just slightly darker and not like too much darker. All right, moving those points around again, making sure they match up, adding in some highlights. As you can see, I got those kind of like zigzag shapes to kind of suggest the hair. And that's the only way you want to do it. I mean, if you want to try to get in a lot of strands, go for it. If not, it's okay. But I've liked what I've got here. Remember, we're working all week, so I think I'm going to hit a stopping point here. The most important thing is to not overwork yourself. Don't stress too much over this. I'm not asking for your shadows and highlights to be as perfect as mine are. I've been working with this program for quite some time. I've done this lesson multiple times, so I've had a lot of practice. A lot of you are new to Google Drawings, so like I said, I'm not expecting amazing things like what I've got here. I have already looked at some of y'all so far, and I'm really impressed with what I've seen. Remember, refrain from trying to use black outlines, and use the different colors for your shadows and highlights to bring everything out. And much like what you've seen when I'm working, zoom in and out constantly. When you zoom in, you can make lines closer together with the polyline to make a more rounded looking shape. That's some advice that I have for you. We're working all week, so just take your time, work a little bit here and there, and if you need anything, reach out to me. I'm available all day, every day. I can set up Zooms, and we can work together. I can share the screen, help you out with whatever you might need. But y'all are doing great. Keep up the good work. I think these are going to be really awesome.